Well, Gary and I worked in the dog lab at the university our senior year, and would both of their kids were born while we were still in veterinary school.
Tell
So
me about the dog lab. Was that a good job to have in veterinary school?
yes,
Why was that?
paid well, paid $2 an hour.
And you were taking care of the dogs that were used
No.
in experiments?
Well, I probably shouldn't even admit it, but we were the debarkers.
Oh, you were, okay. I think Carl did that too.
Maybe he did. Yeah, he did. This was over in the or the hospital on Minneapolis campus, and one of us would usually call late in the afternoon, 4:30, before the people who took care of feeding the dogs and stuff would leave, find out, okay, how many dogs have we got tonight? And sometimes there'd be a dozen. I don't think we ever had less than maybe a dozen. And I remember one night we had almost 100. So sometimes you'd be there for a short time, taking out the vocal cords, and then other times you'd be there for an extended, well, towards midnight or later.
One thing I never heard about was the actual procedure. So you're debarking them. You must have used an injectable anesthetic then?
We used pentothal, and we both learned, and everybody that did that job learned to be very good at venipunctures. You would anesthetize them, and then with a mouth gag and a little forceps, claw tooth forceps, grab a hold of the epiglottis and pull that out to expose, and then with a uterine biopsy punch, human uterine biopsy punch, you would slip down and get where the vocal cords come together and clip that out, and then 2 or 3 clips on each side to get the other parts. And they weren't voiceless, but they were barkless.
Yeah.
So, and a couple times during the course of the year, some of these dogs would be long-term experiments. They'd do some surgical procedure, and then they would send them to a facility at Rosemont. And a couple times during that year, Gary and I were told to go down there and do an evaluation as to the health status of the dogs down there. And it seems to me we found one that had some mange or something, but wasn't anything real alarming. But $2 an hour, that bought groceries and paid rent that senior year.